We got some sauce, a container of sauce that I made. It's got meatballs, sausage, pork in there already, so it's got all the fixings for the meat. And I have this nice Devella lasagna noodles I picked up Federal Hill, very nice. And I got some mozzarella that I picked up from Stop and Shop. All out of fresh homemade mozz, but that's just as good. And I have the whey from leftover from making the feta cheese yesterday. We're making homemade ricotta cheese, and basically it's so simple. All you gotta do is strain the whey, put it back in the pot, get heated up to about 203 degrees, and let it sit. Say sit for about an hour or so, and then you pour it through this colander with the cheesecloth, let it hang so all the liquid drains, and you have a nice beautiful bunch of ricotta cheese. Okay, so you can see as it's getting close to 200 degrees, it's starting to form the ricotta. So we're going to get started making our lasagna, and like I said, we took the whey that we had left over after making the nice ricotta cheese, and we added some water to it. So we're going to heat that up. We'll actually boil this lasagna noodles. When figuring out how many lasagna noodles you need, these increase in size after you cook them. So it takes 3 to go across one. So you want 3 per layer. Okay, so I figured out I'm going to need about 5 layers of lasagna noodles, so that's 15. So I pulled out 16 strips, 1 extra in case one breaks or while it's cooking or whatever, and I can use a nice whole one. And if I have a little left over, there's always Wolfgang, who loves lasagna. Yes, he does. Okay, so we've chopped up our fresh parsley, oregano, and basil from our window box over there, and we're going to sprinkle that on a couple of layers as we build it. There's a little flavor. Okay, so we got the lasagna noodles cooking there, and the whey with the water. And oh boy, does that smell good. Really gives it a good flavor. And we're going to cook those till about they're al dente, because I'm going to put them in the pan here with the sauce on them, and we're going to bake it so they'll cook a little bit more when they're in there. So you don't want to overcook, definitely don't want to overcook the lasagna. Okay, so one way to make sure you don't overcook the lasagna is once we strain that out, in here I have a bowl of just some cold water, and I have some oil in the pot, so they're going to get coated with a little oil in there. And we take them from there and put them in the cold water so they won't sit in hot water or sit and cook some more, so it kind of like stops the cooking process. Okay, so while those lasagna noodles are cooking, we're going to put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. Okay, and we're going to take some sauce. Okay, mix it with that olive oil and kind of spread it around. Okay, so now we have our lasagna noodles. They're in our that cold water. Put that in there to cool them down so they won't cook anymore. And you can see how nice these came out. Okay, so you see one. And I did have one stick to the bottom of the pan, so that's a good idea that I made an extra one. So, and you can see that one's just a little bit, just a hair short. That's okay. Alright, so there's our first layer. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our meatballs. We'll put the meatballs on the bottom. And we're just going to put a little coating of tomato sauce on these noodles I just put in. Okay, just like that, not a lot. I got our meatballs here, I got 2 of them, so I'm just going to kind of cut these up and kind of mash them a little bit. And again, this is all was pre-done with a sauce, so kind of put, so that now that's in there. I'm just going to take this little, just kind of sprinkle a little bit of that on there. Okay, that's the parsley, the oregano, and the basil. Alright, and then we have this nice Parmesan cheese, which has a lot of... Okay, so we've added a second layer. We put some mozzarella, and we put some more, another layer of lasagna noodles. And now we're adding our second layer of meat, our sausages, and our pork. And I had a little extra meatball left, so I threw that in there too. Alright, so we've gone in and added the ricotta cheese, and we've used just about all of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some mozzarella to it. Just a little bit of a coverage of the mozz, because that kind of helps hold it together. So when you cut it and you pull it out of the pan, it kind of holds it without it slipping off and making a big mess. Okay, so we've added in the mozz, and to keep in consistency with our cheeses, with 3 cheeses, we have ricotta, we have mozzarella, we have some nice Parmesan. And we're just putting that on there. Okay, just a little grate. Add that in. A lot of salt, a lot of flavor in that. Okay. And we're going to take the rest, not the rest, but just a little bit of our parsley, oregano, and basil. Kind of incorporate that into the cheese. Alright, beautiful. And we have the last of our noodles in there, and a little bit of sauce and a couple of meatballs left. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the last layer. Put a little bit of that parsley, oregano, and basil, what was left on the top of that, and shred up a little bit more Parmesan. Put it on. Now I'm going to hit it with the aluminum foil, put it in the oven for approximately 50 minutes. Okay, so while that lasagna is cooking, got the game on. So I made a little plate here. I got some stuffed cherry peppers, some Spanish olives, some calamatas, some fresh feta cheese that we made. And while I was up the hill getting the lasagna noodles, they had this nice supersat. So I got one of those, and I got some of that in there, and some garlic bagel bites. And we're going to go have a nice Heineken and go watch some of the game. But we will give Wolfie the first taste. Alright, so let's take that cover off, see how this lasagna is doing.
14 yards rushing first half.
Oh yeah. Look at that. Eat of this. Beautiful. Just going in for about 10 minutes so that top kind of browns up nice. Okay, she's ready. Oh yeah. Couple of hands for this one. We'll let that set for a while, and then we'll have some lasagna, and then the rest we're going to cover it and put it in the fridge.